Are those all your requests right there? Neat.
And the exterior and the stuff. So, yeah, that exterior. So, I think when the exterior was out orange, 46 was nice. They gave the girl the blind spot so they could see the cheese. And he hit their rear quarter pin.
Hello, good to see you again. I saw your
There
announcement.
was maybe a cracked light on the Jeep's bumper. It had nothing on it.
So, finance?
Dixie Lee. Dixie Lee Way. You know, Dixie. Don't leave her at the airport.
I've got
Yeah, it took her about 5 minutes to get in trouble.
So we've always tossed around.
You know why people run for public office? If they win, they feel important. Well, you get a little pay too. Who's that? Oh, yes.
So, we want
You've got 10A.
Yep.
You have 10A, 10B. 10B. As in Brown.
Speaks up.
like the actually. It's generally.
Meeting will come to order. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good to see you too.
Okay, please be seated. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Pelosa.
Here.
Councilmember Baggett.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Coursey.
Here.
Councilmember Holman.
Excused.
Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Excused.
Councilmember Wells.
Here.
Okay, announcements, proclamations, and presentations. Public Works Week proclamation, and we will have that right here. If the Public Works representatives would please step forward. Ms. Scott and Mr. Randy Bailey. Ooh, look at this, huh? Ooh. So, I'm gonna read this real quickly. Can everybody hear us okay here? Can you hear it?
Yes.
All right.
Kinda.
All right. Proclamation, whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people. Of the city of Auburn. Whereas these infrastructure facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of Public Works professionals, who are engineers, managers, surveyors, technicians, administrators, operations, and maintenance employees at all levels who are responsible for rebuilding, maintaining, improving, and protecting our city's transportation, utilities, and airport facilities that are essential for our cities, for our citizens, and whereas it is the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Auburn to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2019 marks the 59th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association, and therefore be it resolved that Bill Pelosa, Deputy Mayor for Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through the 25th, 2019 as National Public Works Week in the City of Auburn, and I call upon citizens and civic organizations to join me in honoring our public works professionals, engineers, managers, technicians, administrators, operations and maintenance employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protect our national health, safety, and quality of life. 6th day of May, 2019, City of Auburn, signed by Mayor Nancy Backus. So you want to say something, I suppose? All right.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and council members. We're very proud of the public works staff that we have serving our community and appreciate that the city takes this opportunity every year to recognize all that they do to make our lives in our community a better place. In recognition, I would like to take just a few minutes to share some of what the accomplishments for 2018 were for Public Works. So in engineering, we had 20 active capital projects totaling about $29 million. That included about 30 lane miles of new pavement, 7,000 feet of water mains, 11,500 feet of storm lines, 400 feet of sewer lines, 14,000 feet of new or replaced sidewalks, installing or replacing 8 traffic signals, and completing a new roundabout at 22nd and I Street Northeast. We also issued and inspected work for 465 permits in our public right-of-way, primarily for utility companies, and we managed 82 private development projects that are completing public improvements within the public right-of-way throughout the city. In maintenance and operations, we handled 3,417 requests for service, and about 54% of those actually came to us through the Auburn app, so that's actually an increase over last year. From those requests, that actually generated almost 27,000 tasks for our staff, which averages about 107 tasks a day that was completed throughout 2018. At our airport, we also successfully completed the transition from contract management to in-house management. Our hangars were fully rented out throughout the entire year of 2018. We have about 330 based aircraft at the airport, and annually we have about 142,000 takeoffs and landings. So all of that, the public works staff are dedicated and work hard every day to serve our residents, business owners, and visitors. It requires their combined efforts to successfully manage the systems that many of us take for granted. So if you get a chance, I encourage you to thank them for all that they do. And Randy's got a few words as well.
Randy?
Yep. Thank you. So I just wanted to remind everyone that we had sent out some information on some tours that we're going to be doing to kick off Public Works Week. Those tours will be on May 17th, and the first tour will start at 9 o'clock. We've already got a list set up for that first tour, but we will be adding tours as the day goes along to accommodate the people that come in. It's kind of a fun time. We're kind of scheduling some of it towards kids, so we've got some activities for kids as well as the tour itself. And If the adults come down, we've got several things that they will get a tour through and be able to look at our SCADA system and some of our video walls and some equipment demos and actually some underground TVing and that kind of stuff. So anyway, please remind your neighbors and everybody else, come on down and see what we do and how we do it.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank
Thank you, Ingrid. As always, please step forward and get congratulations from council.
Thank you, sir.
The affordable housing agenda item has been held off for a later date. Appointments, Salary Commission. City Council to confirm the appointment of Kristen Small to the Salary Commission for a 4-year term to expire December 31, 2022. Yes.
I move for the appointment of Kristen Small.
Okay. Second? Second by Mr. Baggett.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Okay. So, any discussion from the council? I believe that Kristen is from the small oil company
Oh, nice.
over here. And I'm not sure, does she go by Mary as a nickname?
I'm not sure, but this is another example of how we have wonderful citizens who've stepped up to fill the many committees and commissions that we have. And once again, we're really very, very fortunate.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda modifications. There, according to the agenda page, there are no public hearings as scheduled, correct?
There's no public hearings, no. The only modification to the agenda was the removal of the affordable housing proclamation.
Okay, good. Thanks. Now we go into 5B for boy, audience participation. Does anyone want to speak before the council? Come forward.
All right. Deputy Mayor, Council Member Carl Stacy, Jr. We know our time to speak to you is limited this evening, so I'll get straight to the point. I represent the addresses of 32117, 32128, 32204, 32225, 32231 46 Place South, Auburn, up on the South Hill, who live next to a high crime activity house that is located at 32143 46 Place South, which is on the West Hill of Auburn also. This house has been a hotbed of criminal activity for the past 12 plus years. I want to thank Chiefs Kelly, Lee, and Pearson for their leadership in responding to our concerns over the past several years. On April 4th, 2019, the Auburn and King County SWAT team was back at this house serving a warrant. There was someone who violently resisted the efforts of police to control the situation and plowed through a fence into the neighbor's yard with their car. Explosions and gunshots began to fill the early morning quietness of our neighborhood. To say the least, it was a terrifying experience for all of us. Last Monday evening, several of us neighbors had a productive meeting with CRT officers Anderson and Steinman of the Auburn Police Department. They were informative and shared as much information as they could about the events of the previous several days of April 4th. We are aware that there is an active criminal investigation. We appreciate that very much. Clearly, the police officers show that they were concerned with what we have to live with on a day-to-day basis, and they care enough to listen to our concerns, even though they express things that we did not want to hear, such as their hands are tied and they're limited to what they can do. We saw they appeared committed to working with us to help make changes that will improve the quality of life in our neighborhood. What we are asking is that the city assemble a team of all its resources, see what can be done to eliminate the problem in our neighborhood. that is directly caused by the residents and visitors at this property. We know that the city is capable of taking action and have seen the city do so within the last couple of years with an unlawful campsite that had been set up on a vacant land behind this very same problem house. That was $12,000 that it cost you guys to get rid of all that. So kind of give you an idea where that neighborhood is. So those efforts completely eradicated the problem from the vacant land and made positive improvements to our neighborhood. However, the residents and the visitors at this problem home have created an unsafe environment in our neighborhood that fosters a significant sense of trouble and fear. We do live in fear because we sit and wait for the next shoe to drop. Whether it is more criminal activity or the SWAT team showing up again in the early hours to serve yet another warrant at this problem house, disturbing this quiet neighborhood yet again.
Sir, you've gone beyond your time.
Okay. Can I submit my comments to you guys?
Yeah, please, you can hand it over to us and or the clerk.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Any comments from the police department?
I know that we're working that address, and it's good to know that, it's nice to hear that we are making efforts up there, but we more often than not involve other departments in the city, and so I will look into that and make sure that that we're covering all facets.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, I'm Bob Zimmerman from 33029 46th Place South. I'd like to thank the Public Works Department for the good job they do, and the police and everything else, and I wish we could get that same level of service out of the building department. I suppose last few weeks, and even this weekend, I read an article in the paper about Boeing, and the management is cutting short the safety people and kicking the guy, the engineer that was in charge of it, out of the company because he was slowing things down too much. And of course, we all know that costs 350 lives. And Portland, not Portland, but Pacific Gas and Electric down in California, you know, with their negligence, cost 85 lives in that fire at Paradise. And a couple months ago in the Wall Street Journal, it said that they've been lying to regulators about when they're going to do their maintenance for most of this decade. And in 2017, they had 18 fires that cost 18 people their lives. And unfortunately, I'm seeing this same kind of negligence from the building department here in Auburn. When I call them about a concrete wall being built on top of the ground without any kind of embedded footing or foundation, they pretty much ignore the situation and say, well, it doesn't really matter, you know. So then they pile dirt against it. Okay, and a retaining wall requires 1.5 times the safety factor. So you got dirt piled this high on one side, you got nothing on the other side, and they're not able to find the violation. Now, in the meeting with the mayor's office, they told me that they are highly trained and licensed professionals. Now, why can't a highly trained and licensed professional find dirt on one side of a wall and none on the other side of the wall that requires a 1.5 safety factor? I mean, this is just totally ridiculous. And then we get into the gas pool situation, but I'm not going to have time to talk about that. But anyway, the RCW says in 35A.12.100 that all the laws of the state of Washington are supposed to be followed, and the mayor is responsible for making that happen. Now, in RCW 42.20.80, it says that violating that responsibility is a gross misdemeanor. Now, I want to know who's going to send the mayor down to jail for 364 days for her to reconsider her...
5 seconds, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I see I'm right at the end. I was just going to say, so she can reconsider her management policy. Thank you.
Dr. Mayor, I need you to turn your mic on.
What?
Your mic. I need you to turn your mic on.
Important.
Thank you.
Okay, according to our agenda, we have no correspondence.
Is there any more public comment?
Oh, do we have, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to, are there any further comments from the, yes, Ms. Haugen.
Virginia Haugen, 2503 R Street, Southeast Auburn. Caduce to maintenance when I had water gushing all over the place in front of my house. Boom, they took care of it, loved it. Very polite guys, love what they do, and I understand what they do. Hard workers, glad we have them. Thank you for recognizing our public works people. In the olden days, come December, the City Council had several opportunities to review the mayor's proposed budget for the following year. If a majority saw some things they thought they didn't look quite right, the mayor could either make changes in his budget or get it in front of the City Council and be embarrassed that it was voted down. Several months ago, our very, very able finance director spoke of what a local newspaper called our budget woes. Curious as I am, I did some snooping and I came up with some budget facts that are even more shocking than I thought they would be. So as not to embarrass some of the people in this room tonight, I'm not going to get into the heavy-duty budget stuff that I have come to know about. But I went over here to the theater one night a while back to a State of the City address. It could have been held right here in this room, no cost. We could have filled our cups with water out here at the drinking fountain. No, we went over there to some soiree that cost the city $1,900. There was a full buffet laid out. No, I did not eat. I had already eaten at home. I had my own cup that I filled with water from the drinking fountain, yet the mayor stood and told us how great the water is in Auburn to drink. She even drank it in front of us. Everybody around me was drinking bottled water. There were cases of bottled water, yet we're being told how good our water is. I have not got any figures on the last trip that anyone took to a National League of Cities conference in Washington, D.C. I understand 4 people went. I've looked at those figures before, and it costs a lot of money to send 4 people to Washington, D.C. And I will tell you, when you go to a National League of Cities convention, I've read reports from these meetings, you get taught how to go after more and more tax dollars from people like me. I think that it's time that this city council got busy and informed our mayor and some of our department people that we're spending too much money on things that are completely unnecessary. And I hope that the homeless people in Auburn understand now about, what is it, this affordable housing week? Maybe they can afford a place to live.
Thank you. Are there any further audience comments? Are there any further audience comments? Are there any further audience comments?
Microphone, you can go ahead and just leave yours on, Mayor.
Okay.
You can just leave it on.
Now we'll go to ad hoc committee reports, and I believe we have one, big one, from Chair Wales on Finance Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Pelosa. Both Claude DeCourcy and I had an opportunity to review the vouchers for this last 2-week period, and we reviewed them item by item. And I had no questions, and Claude had no questions, so we recommend at this time that the vouchers and payroll be paid.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to the consent agenda, item 7. Councilmember Wales.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Larry?
I second that motion. I second that motion.
Okay. Are there any,
Council member, or Deputy Mayor Pelosi, on the consent agenda this evening, we have the minutes of the March 25th, 2019 meeting, the April 8th, 2019 meeting, and the April 22nd, 2019 study session. Also in our consent agenda, we have August 2016, April 15, 2019 special City Council meetings. And we also have minutes from April 15, 2019 regular council meeting. We also have on the consent agenda claims and payroll, which our incredibly smart Finance Committee, consisting of Mr. DeCoursey, reviewed them item by item and have recommended to us that they be approved. A further housekeeping item that we have on the consent agenda is setting a date for a public hearing on a franchise agreement. And then we go on to speak to 2 public works projects where we are awarding for their low bids for a sewer pump station telemetry improvements, and of course my favorite, citywide patching and an overlay project. Thank you.
any discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Is there any unfinished business?
No, Chair.
Any new business?
No, Chair.
Any, well, now we'll go to resolutions. And City Attorney.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Resolution number 5418, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, authorizing the mayor to accept and expend federal grant funds to be administered through a local agency agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the Auburn Way South SR 164 curb safety improvements, Poplar Street Southeast, MP 2.97 vicinity.
Ask for a motion.
You asked for a motion.
Is there a motion to be put on the dais?
I move to adopt Resolution 5418.
Largo.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
So Resolution 5418, as the city attorney mentioned, is authorizing the mayor to accept and expend federal funds for projects. This project is going to be used to upgrade existing light standards to LEDs and also to install light standards with LED luminaires and a curb ahead warning sign. Also, we're going to be doing some high friction surface treatments that will be applied to the westbound lane, install guardrail, and make adjustments to shoulder radii and 2 driveways for the apartment facility that's identified in the resolution.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Passes.
Resolution number 5423, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, approving the lodging tax grant disbursements recommended by the Auburn Lodging Tax Advisory Committee.
Is there a motion? Mr. Brown.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I would move the adoption of Resolution 5423.
5418.
18.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Turn your microphone.
I'll second the motion for Resolution 5418.
5423.
Oh, 23 again, thank you.
Made a
Yeah.
mistake there. Wow.
Okay, we're voting on
5423.
5423. Is there-
Good catch.
Mr. Brown, would you like to?
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. 5423 5423 is a resolution of the City Council approving the lodging tax grant disbursement as recommended by the Auburn Lodging Tax Advisory Committee.
Is there any discussion from the council? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 5421, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, setting a public hearing to consider the vacation of right-of-way of a portion of B Street Southeast, south of 2nd Street Southeast, within the City of Auburn, Washington.
Do I hear a motion?
I move for the adoption of Resolution 5421.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
The correct one.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion from the council?
So Resolution 5421 affects Pacific Realty Associates, who's applied for this vacation to the right-of-way as described by the city attorney. This application has been reviewed by city staff and utility purveyors. We find no issue with it. And resolution will be adopted tonight if it's approved by city council.
Is there any further discussion by the council? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're going to move into mayor and council member reports. From the council, Mr. Baggett.
No report.
Okay. Mr. DeCoursey.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I tried to hide it.
You tried to hide it on me. So, she's complaining about my vision problem tonight. Anyway, on Wednesday, April 17th, along with Transportation Planner Joe Walsh and Senior Transportation Planner Cecile Malik, we attended the King County Regional Transit Committee meeting at the King County Courthouse. We had two presentations that day. One was by a gentleman by the name of Stuart Cohen, who was the co-founder and former executive director for an organization called Transform from Oakland. It's a nonprofit organization in California that promotes walkable communities and with excellent transportation choices to connect people of all incomes to various opportunities related to equity and mobility. The framework for equity outcomes in this new mobility identified by Mr. Cohen includes access to public transit, affordability, health improvements related to pollution reduction, and income equality issues. He talked a lot about how income equality issues affect people of all incomes, especially low-income people, related to finding transit and accessible means of transit. Secondly, we had a briefing by Metro staff on their vision and proposal to turn the bus fleet into an all-electric fleet. Currently, as outlined in their 2017-2018 budget, they've designated capital funding for electric battery buses and fueling facilities to expand an Eastside pilot project. And during 2019 and 2020, Metro will proceed with an expansion of revenue on the fleet that includes investments in battery electric buses and associated infrastructure. And this is also a plan to lease 10 extended range buses, order up to 77 battery buses, and install the chargers and substations to support the expansion. They're also looking at doing a transition to trolley buses as well. Overall, Metro is looking at a plan to transition into zero emissions fleet by the year 2040. A lot of this is kind of fluid and flexible because the issues related to batteries could either be a short-term cause and effect issue, or we may find some things going on technology-wise that will help increase the range and the life of batteries as well. So by 2040, Metro is looking at taking out of the 1,620 buses in the fleet, and I'm sorry, today, out of 1,620 buses in the fleet, 185 are zero emissions, and by 2040, they're planning on having all buses zero emissions. Thank you.
Thank you. Largo.
No.
No report.
No report, thank you.
Larry.
Just a short report tonight, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to comment on the recognition for our public works folks. When people ask me what it is to be on city council, I start by describing making sure that when you need to call a police officer that you have a police officer, public safety. But right next to that is Public Works. It is as fundamental to what we do as a city as anything else that we do. And back in the day when I played football, when they had leather helmets, I played offensive line. And that's a position that nobody notices what you do unless you don't get your job done. And I think that's probably like that for Public Works. And we never notice them, but I'll tell you, my shower works every morning. When I flush the toilet, it works. When I get in the car and leave the city to my job, I'm on a good road. I know Public Works is doing their job. So I just wanted to say thank you to our hardworking Public Works folks. Thank you.
Larry.
Thank you.
John.
No, Larry's here, John's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, John, sorry, buddy.
No problem. First, I'd like to offer you and my fellow councilman in the audience apology for walking in late. I was coming back from a doctor's appointment in Seattle and traffic was a bear.
Oh, yeah.
The only report I have is on the passing of Dario Cugini last week. And condolences to his widow, Joe Cugini. Dario and Joe owned Cugini Florists in town for years. And before that, Dario grew up here. He was third generation Cugini in Auburn, and started out, his family started out with a milk cow business, and that grew into a grocery store. And then Dario started a florist shop. And if you have a chance, it'd be a great tribute to the memory of Dario Cugini is to go to the White River Museum and check out one of the videos that Dario did on the history of Auburn and the history of his family in Auburn. So my personal condolences to Joe, his wife, Joe Cugini, and Auburn. It's really the passing of a real historical person of note in Auburn.
Thank you, John. The mayor has no report tonight, but I do. It's going to be very brief, but it's a tidbit of our artwork here in the city of Auburn. Back months ago, the city of Auburn approved the commission of a new artwork at Lesko Park, and it's located right next to where the Triple X used to serve up all their good hot dogs, hamburgers, and root beer. And they're going to have a celebration of this artwork, and the name of the artwork is Crow with Fries. Crow with Fries. And they're going to have an opening celebration on Friday, May 31, at the what they're calling the landing. The Crow is going to land. And there will be a celebration starts at 6 to 7:30 p.m. along Auburn Way South, 1140 Auburn Way South. The landing celebration will include entertainment, curated art activities related to crows, and fun crow-inspired games. Free hot dogs, chips, a drink, and dessert will be served. One of the artists' name is Peter Reiquam. 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 So, we hope that people that have time should come out, because this crow structure is humongous. It's big. It really is. So anyway, that's my report. Now, City Attorney, any need for executive session?
No, sir.
What?
No, Deputy Mayor. No need for an executive or closed session this evening.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned for the moment, but we'll be back after we have this. How many minutes?
We do not need an executive session,
Oh,
sir.
not?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I misunderstood you. Okay, so, meeting's adjourned.